Welcome all. Welcome to physics class. So in today's class, I am going to explain about magnetism. So all of us know and all of us observe in our daily life about magnetism or the applications of magnetism. So we know we use magnets in many situations or the effect of magnetism in many situations like sound boxes, speakers, motors, electric motors, fans, like this. In many situations or many appliances, the magnetism is used. Okay, but now we are using magnetism, but the magnetism or the magnets are well known from ancient days, from before Christ days also the magnetism or magnets are well known. So in those days, in ancient days, a stone called lodestone, which is a mineral of magnetite, a mineral called magnetite. So the pieces of magnetite are able to attract the iron pieces. So these are observed in ancient days only. I think in Greece I think in that area, a piece of magnetite called lodestones are able to attract the iron pieces. So the because of this capability only they are called lodestones. So actually the magnetite or lodestones are minerals of iron oxides. One of the iron oxides, Fe3O4. Fe3O4. So these lodestones are capable of iron pieces. So that is the first observation. Those are the first observations of the magnetism. But they don't know why it is attracting iron pieces. What is the science behind this? They don't know, but they observed that only. So this see that picture. The stone is called lodestone, a piece of magnetite. It attracts iron nails, iron pieces. Okay. So like this, first it was observed in those days. Magnetism was first discovered in the ancient world only, when people noticed that lodestones naturally magnetized pieces of the mineral magnetite. Magnetized pieces of the mineral magnetite could attract the iron. So they were able to attract the iron. That's why they are called lodestones. Okay. But nowadays we have many applications of magnetism or directly magnet. So some of them are so one thing I want to tell is, by using this lodestone, first in ancient days Greeks observed the effect of magnetism or the lodestone attracting the iron. But after some centuries, Chinese used this lodestone as a compass to navigate their ships, to detect, to observe the directions or to show the directions. Chinese used this lodestone as a compass. They made a spoon of lodestone, spoon with this lodestone, and when this is placed on a table, the handle always shows the south direction. So by using this lodestone, look at the picture. That is the spoon made by lodestone, which is used as a compass, magnetic compass for navigation purpose. That handle always shows the south direction. So the early Chinese are believed to have first used them in magnetic compasses for navigation purposes. The early compasses were created with lodestone. Early compasses are magnetic compasses all were made with lodestone only, because the only available magnetic material or magnet, natural not magnetic material, the only available magnets in those days are lodestones only. That's why all the compasses made at that time were lodestones. Okay, so this is the early days application, ancient days application of magnet. And nowadays we can observe many applications of magnetism. For example, I give some of the applications of magnetism. So look at that. Speakers, all the speakers possess magnets inside the speakers. You observe a bass speakers on sound, loud sound, big sound boxes, or you observe in headphones. All speakers, small or big, possess magnets inside them. So the magnet is used to convert the electrical signals into audio signals. And the next picture shows a electric motor. In electric motor, the rotor is rotated by the effect of magnetism. When we supply an AC current to the winding of the motor, an electric field produced inside the motor and winding, and it rotates the shaft or rotor shaft. Okay, this magnetism is applied here, used here. And another one is bullet trains. Bullet trains works on base depends upon magnetism only. So while they are moving with a great velocity, or while they are moving, there is no contact between the rails and the train, because this is possible due to by the magnetism only. And the compasses also uses magnets to show the directions, north south directions, because a magnet has a property. What is the property of magnet? When we suspend or hang a magnetic rod in air, it shows it aligns into the north south direction. This is the property of the magnet. Okay, so compasses depends upon this principle only. When a magnet is suspended in air, it shows it aligns into the north south direction. So that property used in compasses. And so this is very well known to us. These are ATM or debit cards or credit cards. So all of the cards possess a black layer, a black strip backside of the card. So this black strip is nothing but a magnetic strip, magnetic material, a coating, a layer of the magnetic material. The details of the card are stored at that magnetic strip, and when we insert this card in the ATM machine, that scanner reads the details and give access to our account. So in ATM or debit credit cards, this magnetic strip is very important to store the details of account holder. And one more important thing is, all of you know about MRI scanning, very useful in the medicine field to scan every body. It is used to scan any part of the body. Magnetic resonance induction scanning, MRI scanning, a very powerful magnetic field is produced in the chamber, and that magnetic field is used to scan the parts of the body. So very useful. And we know electromagnetic cranes. We know normal cranes which are used to load the containers in shipyards or anywhere, but electromagnetic cranes are used electric current and magnetism to load the containers, but they are capable of attract the iron blocks or heavy iron blocks. When we supply an AC current or any current to that electric crane's hand, a magnetic field is produced around the electric crane hand, and that magnetic field attracts the iron blocks, and like this we use electromagnetic cranes to shift the iron blocks, heavy iron blocks. Okay, so these are some of the applications of magnetism. And first let us see what is magnetism. See, magnetism is a force of attraction or repulsion. So we know a magnet attracts iron, and we also know magnet attracts another magnet, and in case of two magnets there may be an attractive force or repulsive force between two magnets. So but in case of iron and magnet, there is only force of attraction. Okay, but when in case of two magnets there may be a force of attraction or force of repulsion. Anything is possible. So magnetism is a force, nothing but a force of attraction or repulsion that acts at a distance, and magnetic force do not need to be in contact. The particle or the material should not be in contact, or need not be in contact with the magnet. If it is at a distance, then also magnetic force is applied, magnetic force acts. So magnetism is a force of attraction or repulsion that acts at a distance, right? It is due to a magnetic field which is caused by moving electrically charged particles. So right, so here one important thing is to be discussed, that is the main reason for the magnetism is the electric charges only. There is a strong relation between electricity and magnetism. Both are interdependable. When there is no electricity, there is no magnetism also, because the magnetism is produced by the electric charges only, but not all the electric charges, but only by moving electric charges. The magnetism is produced by the moving electric charges, electrically charged particles. When an electron moves or any electron travels, it produces a magnetic field, like that. So it is due to magnetic field which is caused by moving electrically charged particles. So when you observe a current carrying conductor, there is a magnetic field around the current carrying conductor until the current through the conductor is stopped. When the current is switched off, current is stopped, then only the magnetic field around the conductor is disappeared. So when the current is passing through the conductor, what is the current? Electric current, the flow of charges. So when the current is passing through the conductor, that means the electrons are traveling through the conductor. So these moving electrically charged particles produce a magnetic field around the conductor, right? So magnetism depends upon the moving electrical charges. When a heavy amount of charge is moving or traveling through a path, along a path, when electric charge is traveling along a path, then the magnetic field is produced around that path, around concentric circles that can be represented by concentric circles around that field path. Okay, so and next thing, a magnet is an object that exhibits a strong magnetic field and will attract materials like iron or other materials like cobalt, nickel. So naturally available or magnetic materials are iron, nickel, cobalt. They are attracted by the magnets. So magnet is an object that exhibits a strong magnetic field around that, and it attracts some magnetic materials like iron, nickel, cobalt. And a magnet has, we are all know that any magnet, all the magnets possess two poles. One is called north pole or north seeking pole, and another one is called, the opposite pole is called south pole or south seeking pole, because when we suspend a bar magnet in air, that bar magnet aligns into the north south direction. That means always a end is directed toward to north direction, and second end always directs to south direction. The end which directed towards north is called north pole or north seeking pole, and the end which is directed towards south is called south pole or south seeking pole. So you take any, if we take any magnet, all the magnets possess two poles. We cannot create single magnetic poles. If you take, when you let us take a bar magnet of north and south poles, and let us make this magnet into small pieces. Then observe, all the pieces from which are made by that bar magnet will also possess two magnetic poles, and they are north and south. We cannot separate the poles. Magnet must possess, or every magnet possess two poles always. When we break a magnet into pieces, then that pieces also possess two poles. Right, one is north pole which directs toward north, and one is south pole which directs towards south. Okay, the north pole of one magnet attracts the south pole of a second magnet, while the north pole of one magnet repels the other magnet's north pole. That means, what is that? When two magnets came closer, they are brought together or close, both possess north pole and south pole. So when we try to bring close two north poles, they repel each other. But when we try to bring the north pole of one magnet and south pole of another magnet close, they attract each other. That means north pole attracts south pole of another magnet, and north pole repels north pole of another magnet. That means, what can we say? North pole repels each other, south pole repels each other, but north pole of one magnet and south pole of another magnet attracts each other. That means, unlike poles attract each other, like poles repel each other. Okay, these are basic things which are observed about magnets. Okay, first, and when a magnet is created, a magnetic field is produced around that magnet. Okay, when we bring a magnet, we make a magnet, I think at that time only a magnetic field is produced around that magnet. So what happened due to that magnetic field? When we bring another magnet into that field or near to that magnet, our first magnet attracts or repels the second magnet which is kept in the field. Yes or no? Due to the produced magnetic field, a force is applied on second magnet by the first magnet. Okay, so when we place the second magnet closer to the first magnet, the force is more. When we increase the distance of the second magnet from the first magnet, the force applied by the first magnet is decreases. If we increase the distance gradually, the force applied by the first magnet also decreases not also, decreases gradually. So at a point, at a particular point, the force may become zero. The force of first magnet on second magnet become zero at a particular point. So that means there is no effect. There is no effect of first magnet on second magnet. That means the second magnet is not in the field, magnetic field produced by the first magnet. Okay, so like by observing this thing, we can define the magnetic field. What is the magnetic field? Magnetic field, where will be the magnetic field? Around a magnet. The space or region around a magnet, then that is called magnetic field. But up to what extent? The magnetic field is not extended to an unlimited distance. It is in confined region or a space. Okay, so when there is the effect of a magnet around that magnet, at that place only called magnetic field. So like, let us define the magnetic field. Magnetic field is a region around a magnetic material or a moving electric charge within which the force of magnetism acts, or simply the space or region around a magnet till which its effect is present is called magnetic field. The space or region around a magnet till which its effect is present, that space or region is called magnetic field. It is nothing but a space. But if there is an effect of the magnet, then only we say that there exists a magnetic field. If there is no effect of the magnet, then we can say there is no magnetic field due to the magnet. So magnetic field is a space or region around a magnet until which its effect is present. Okay, so let us see how does a magnetic field is originate. We have already discussed that any magnetic field or magnet is produced, magnetic field is produced by moving electric charges only. Okay, so there are two types of magnets we have. One is temporary magnets, those are called electromagnetism, and some magnets are permanent magnets. So first let us discuss about temporary magnets. So what are temporary magnets? When when a current is passing through a conductor, due to that electric current, a magnetic field is produced around that electric conductor. So when the current is stopped, then the magnetic field is also disappeared. That means that there is no magnetic field around the conductor. So that means the conductor acts like a magnet when a current is passing through the conductor, and the conductor do not act like a magnet when there is no electric current passing through it. That means it is a temporary magnet. When the current passes, it acts like a magnet. When the current do not passes through the conductor, it acts like a non-magnet. So like this, so let us see what's happening. The magnetic field arises when a charge is in motion. There are two basic ways through which we can arrange for a charge to be in motion and generate a useful magnetic field. Following are the two ways. First one is about temporary magnets. So there was a scientist Ampere who gives the relation between the magnetic field around a conductor and the current passing through the conductor. His name is Ampere. Ampere gave a relation between the current passing through the conductor and the magnetic field produced around the conductor. So he showed that when a current passing through the conductor, around the conductor a magnetic field is produced. So what he suggests is, Ampere suggested that a magnetic field is produced whenever an electric charge is in motion. Let us consider a wire through which the current is made to flow by connecting it to a battery. A current is made to flow by connecting it to a battery. As the current through the conductor increases, the magnetic field increases proportionally. When the current is increased, the magnetic field is also increased proportionally, directly proportional. When we move further away from the wire, the magnetic field decreases with the distance. And also, when we increase the distance between the point of observation and the electric conductor, when the distance is increasing, the magnetic field decreases. Here he observed 2 points. First point, when the current passing through the conductor is increased, the magnetic field around the conductor increased, and when we increase the distance between the point of observation and the electric current, the magnetic field decreases with the distance. So that means this is described by Ampere's law. He gave a law which gives the relation between the magnetic field and the current passing through the conductor. According to that law, the magnetic field at a distance r from a long current carrying conductor I is the current passing through that conductor, is given by the relation B is equal to mu naught I by 2 pi r. So B is the intensity of magnetic field or strength of the magnetic field, or it is also called as magnetic field induction, right? So strength of the magnetic field depends upon mu naught is a constant, that is called permeability of the free space. Permeability, let us we will discuss about permeability later. So permeability is a property of the medium. If the medium is free space, the current carrying conductor is in free space or air, the permeability is represented by mu naught. It is a property of the medium, and for free space its value is 4 pi into 10 power minus 7, 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere. The units of permeability are Tesla meter per ampere. So when a current I is passing through a conductor, then at a point which is at a distance r from the conductor, the magnetic field B is produced, and it is equal to mu naught I by 2 pi r. So when the current is disappeared, or the current passing through the conductor is switched off, stopped, then the magnetic field is also disappears, is also 0, because when I is 0, the B is also 0. In the equation, special constant is known as permeability of free space. Its value is 4 pi into 10 power minus 7. Okay, and the second type is permanent magnet. This is about permanent magnets. So let us all of us know a permanent magnet. We need not to supply electric current for them. Yes or no? So you see, some bar magnets are there. They attract iron and they attract another magnet, or they repel another pole of magnet, but it acts like a magnet, but we need not to supply any electric current to them. Then how they are acting like magnets? We know any magnetism or any magnet is the consequence of moving electric charges. A magnetism needs a electric current or electric charge which is in motion. But when we observe bar magnet, there is no electric current passing through the magnet, but there is magnetism. Where it is came from? So these are second type. These are permanent magnets. They need no current, because the atoms inside the atoms which are in that magnets possess electric currents inside them. See, any atom possesses electrons which are revolving around the nuclei. These electrons in some material, note that in some materials only, not in all materials, in some special materials, these electrons, all the electrons acts like magnets. All the electrons which are revolving around the nuclei are nothing but a magnet. Each electron is a magnet. Each electron revolving around a nuclei is a magnet. But in many of the materials, we consider all the electrons in an atom, the magnetic field produced by them gets cancelled. But in some materials, the magnetic field produced by the electrons do not get cancelled. Those type of materials acts like permanent magnets. For example, alloys. See, permanent magnets work based on the motion of electrons around the nuclei. We have observed that only some materials can be made into magnets. Only some materials can be made into magnets, but not all the materials, and some much stronger than other. Some materials are used to make magnets, and in those materials some much stronger than other. To attain this state, some specific conditions should be met. Some specific conditions means the magnetic fields or the magnetic moments produced by the electron magnets should not get cancelled. But in majority of materials, the magnetic moments which are produced by the electrons revolving in the nuclei gets cancelled. That's why they do not act like materials. But in some materials, the magnetic moments produced by all the electrons do not get cancelled. Those materials acts as permanent magnets. Okay, so there are two ways to produce magnetism. One is for temporary magnetism due to by applying electric current or by passing electric current through the wires, and second one is to produce the permanent magnets. And now, magnetic field strength. We know the magnetic field. In a magnetic field, if we place another magnet, this second magnet experience a force applied by the field. Second magnet, let us take a single north pole. It is not possible, but let us assume we are taking a single north pole and this north pole is placed in a magnetic field. There is a magnetic field due to any magnet. There is no need to tell about the magnet which produces the magnetic field. Okay, but we want magnetic field now. There is a magnetic field. In that magnetic field, a north pole is placed. What happens then? This magnetic field applies some force on the pole. Magnetic field applies force on north pole and south pole, but we are taking north pole now. Okay, this force varies with the position in the field. If we place the same pole in a at a different point, the force applied by the magnetic field is also different. So it depends upon point. At some points, the force experienced by the pole is more, and at some points the force experienced by the pole is less. That means the same pole experiences strong force at points, weak force at some other points. That means the field is not uniform at all the points. the effect of field is more at some points and the effect of field is less at some points. That means this effect of field is called strength of the, this effect of field is measured or called as or indicated by the strength of the field. If the strength of the field is more, then the effect of field is also is more. If the strength of the field is less, the effect of the field is less. That means if strength is more, the force applied by the field on the magnetic pole is more. If the strength is less, then the force applied by the magnetic field on the north pole or south pole is less. Okay, so what is the magnetic field strength? It indicates the effect of the magnetic field on a magnet. Okay, so let us define the magnetic field strength. Now let us assume we have a unit north pole. So what is pole, what is unit north pole? These will be discussed in another class. Let us take a unit north pole, and when we place this unit north pole in a magnetic field at a point, this unit north pole experiences some force due to the magnetic field. So this force applied by the magnetic field on the unit north pole is called magnetic field strength at that point. At that point, because if we change the position or if we place the unit north pole at different point, the force applied by the magnetic field is also different. Okay, so the magnetic field strength varies from point to point. Okay, so how can we define the magnetic field strength? Magnetic field strength is nothing but the force applied on the unit north pole placed in a magnetic field at a point, right? Let magnetic m pole strength, let a north pole of pole strength m is placed in a magnetic field, then the force applied by the magnetic field is F. Then what is the magnetic field strength B? It is indicated by B. So B is defined as force per unit pole strength. Force per unit pole strength. That means F by M. So B is equal to F by M. And one more thing, by conventional, the direction of force applied on the north pole is taken along the field direction. Magnetic field is a vector and it possesses direction. By convention, we take the direction of force applied on north pole is along the field direction, and the direction of force applied on south pole is opposite to the field direction. The force is same if we place a pole of pole strength m, north pole of pole strength m and south pole of pole strength m. The force acting on those two poles is same, magnitude is same, but the direction is opposite. The direction of force acting on north pole is along the magnetic field direction, and the direction of force acting on south pole is opposite to the field direction. Okay, so the force experienced by an unit north pole placed at a point in magnetic field is called magnetic field strength at that point. This is the definition. So it is usually termed as the magnetic field B. B is sometimes called the magnetic flux density or magnetic induction. So B is magnetic field strength is also called as flux density or magnetic induction. And The magnetic field is measured in Tesla capital T. So the SI unit of magnetic field strength is Tesla, and it is also called as Weber per meter square. Weber per meter square. We have another name, magnetic flux density. So magnetic flux is measured in Weber. The density, that means the magnetic flux crossing through unit area, is called magnetic flux density. So unit area, per unit area means per meter square. So that is why magnetic flux density, the units of magnetic flux density is Weber per meter square. This is called as Tesla. Okay, so this is about magnetism in this class. There are many topics to discuss. These topics will be covered in coming sessions. So in this class we discussed, so what is magnetism, what are the early magnets and how they are used nowadays, what some of the applications of magnetism, and what is magnetism and how it is produced. So what is a permanent magnet, and how the magnetism produced in permanent magnets, and how the temporary magnets are produced. So these topics are covered in this session. Thank you.